Michigan State head coach Greg Lansing. Coach, opening remarks and then questions.
Yeah, you know, it's just good to get started, but what you saw is kind of what we are right now. We have really good periods of play in practice, and then we have some really, really bad periods of play. And we talk a lot about doing your part and not being a weak link, because if you're on the defensive end, one guy lets down, they get an easy basket, and they got a lot of easy baskets in the second half. We held them 24 field goal percentage in the first half, and they got 52 in the second. So that's just we got up 41-19, and guys looked at the scoreboard and thought it was easy and thought it was over and quit playing. And I give Trine a lot of credit. Coach Brooks does a great job. He's a good guy. That team's going to win some games. Commend them. Happy that they came down here. It's good for us. It's a learning experience. You know, guys get to see that for the things that we're talking about in practice, with basketball being a game of spurts, you can't have bad spurts of play, otherwise you're going to get beat. And we did that too much today. That's what we are right now. That's what we are. It's the way we've been practicing. We need to continue to develop.
Questions?
Yeah, Greg, it seemed the commitment coming out of the box was great. It's but you know, I guess maybe that's a sign of a team that needs to learn that, you know, to keep the 40 minutes.
We're an immature team right now. You know, and even our veterans were guilty of that here in the second half too. You know, it's they have to lead the way they're going to lead. The other guys have to jump on board and follow, do those things. But when you have the guys that you lean on and you that make all that get the attempts, and your leaders and your main guys, the guys are going to get the buckets for you. When they do some of the things that's out of character of them, then it gives those other guys thinking they can do those things too. So it wasn't real pretty after 41-19, but again, it's stuff we can show these guys film, and they understand now the things that we're telling them in practice. It's the same thing that's going to happen in a game, and we have a lot of improving to do. I still like the group; they're a hard-working group, but we have a very long ways to go.
Encouraging game for Brandon Murphy coming off the bench, and you know, just talk about his effort. He's kind of he strikes me as a guy who you know, I know he struggles like most young players do in practice, but maybe turns on a little bit on game day. I mean, yeah, that seemed evident today.
Brandon's played on the state champion. You know, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He was well coached in high school. He's experienced a level of success. He's a competitor. What gets him is maybe a little bit of the pace of play and some of the mental things. You know, we require him to do this and that on the defensive end, and here's what you're supposed to be doing on the offensive end. But when he just plays, he's fine. He was a good spark for us in the first half. He's different. You know, he's different than most with his wide body. He's not one of those guys that's going to be out there trying to set a ball screen and pop and shoot a three. He did a good job for us, and then got to the line 10 times. You get to the line 10 times, that's doing something. He made 7 of them.
He was part of a period of play in the first half where I think he scored, it was at least 11 points in a row through power forwards and centers down low. He was a big part of it, but it was also TJ, it was also Justin, and also Kitch.
And we missed some easy ones.
Right. You know, just talk about not only their ability to score, but the ability of the guards to find them and, you know, create an inside scoring presence for you.
Yeah, you know, and the thing you have to do there, I mean, this is a team that's a smaller team. It's just from a smaller level, so they don't have the size, the interior guys, so we wanted to make a conscious effort. We thought they'd be packed in, and they really did. We didn't want to just shoot jumpers all the time, but you have to get it inside, you have to get the ball moving. You have to have your people moving, you have to have the ball moving. Can't just dribble down and go in there, because in the second half we tried to just throw it in there off one pass and they'd completely collapse or double team, and the ball's got to get out of there. So we held it too much, didn't move it enough. They did a good job defensively, but in the first half you get the ball reversed a time or two, you penetrate in there, you dump it down, and they get a layup or a dunk, and we got to finish a little better than what we did. But the first half, that's a little more what we want our offense to look like.
If you look at it offensively, it wasn't a great day shooting the three, but then some of your shooters, like Grant, for example, didn't have he had an off day. It was pretty clear. Is that something you think that'll come a little bit? I mean, it seemed like some of the shooters just didn't have it today.
That was our Achilles heel last year. We just didn't make very many shots, and you still win 23 games. We're a better shooting team this year, but we still have to. It's when you get these good shots. You know, Grant doesn't need to shoot a contested three. He's got to get an open three off somebody else making a play for him. I thought Justin did a good job of taking the ones that were open. Christian's a good shooter. You don't have to create a three-point shot for it. Let the offense create it, but that comes with ball movement, touching the paint with the ball or with your drive and get it back out there. So 4 for 15 is not very good, and Grant had 5 of those. But I thought a couple of them were quick. So we'll keep working on it. It's a direct correlation to how your offense is and things that are happening at that end, basically with your shooting.
one of the tough teams with a young or an inexperienced team is to get them to commit to defense. And I would think you'd be pretty happy with their commitment to defense. I mean, maybe not in the second half where it got a little rough, but coming out of the box, I mean, it seemed like that they were, pretty in tune with it and wanted
About
to
25 minutes.
Yeah.
25 minutes, we did a lot of good things. What you have to get, what these guys have to understand, you can be in a defensive stance and talking and flying around and doing your job for 25 seconds, but in that last 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you make a mistake and don't do your job, or you stop and ball watch, they get a layup. It's starting the possession, it's working hard throughout the possession, then finishing the possession. And again, with our youth and our immaturity, we made a lot of mistakes in the second half right there and gave them easy baskets. I think they got several layups, and then you foul them. You have breakdowns when you do that. You can't ever rest on defense.
The rotation's a little different today. Obviously, Alex and Brenton will be back at some point, but how much did today replicate what we're going to see during the regular season, given that those guys didn't?
You're taking 2 guys out of there that are in your main rotation. So we'll have to figure out this week what we're going to do with Q. Not sure of that yet. He gave us some good minutes. He's a high energy guy and a good ball handler. But Brent and Alex are going to play. They're going to get their minutes. So we'll have to figure that out this week. It's early just because of so many new guys. Not sure what your rotation is exactly going to be. They're try to tell them it's a job interview every day in practice. And we have to continue to do that. And these guys have to fight for jostle around for who's getting more minutes than the other. But you know your core guys and what they're going to give you. But the rest of these guys are fighting on a daily basis for it. So today wasn't really. We're just trying to get by. You play 2 big guys, or you play smaller. Against a team like that, you probably need to play smaller all the time. But we tried a little bit of playing bigger because we're going to do that once we get down the road.
What's the rationale with Q? I mean, how could he win a spot? Not a spot, but how could he win the chance to maybe, avert being redshirted? I mean, it does seem like though you do have a decent.
Nobody ever wants to, and I understand that. But you look at take maybe some games you get 2 minutes, maybe someday you get 10 to 12 minutes. Do you want to trade that and do that this year to when your senior year, your 5th year, and we've done well with red shirts. We've done awfully well with red shirts. So it's always up to the player. A big concern of mine with this team is taking care of the ball handling, passing, not turn it over, and he does that. He does that with a brace on his hand tonight. He does that as well as anybody we got. I know he could help us, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And he hasn't practiced much. Today was probably his first day of full contact. He did a few things in there, and I think Zach, our trainer, would have rather held him out. But with Brent and Alex being out, we needed him to be able to spell some of those guys.
Anything else, guys? Coach, thank you.